Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, let's reorient ourselves with the true spiritual reference, which is the nature of the consciousness is empty, and you are that. Or another way to say it is consciousness or truth is not an idea. Now, it's good to have that reference in the mind so that we don't deviate from the practice. We need the reminder so we don't forget the bigger picture of the practice. Thing is that we have already forgotten because of not knowing and also because of the distraction that we have in the spiritual journey. So we are already off track and figuring out we are consciousness or figuring out truth is never ending right now. When the spiritual journey doesn't come to an end, then our struggle never ends. Our confusion, our fear never ends. That means the struggle in life is never ending. And we are in that realm, isn't it? That bubble where the struggle is not ending. And we are experiencing that. So, how to end the struggle, how to end the fear is remembering the bigger picture and working by following the path which is about dismantling the mind. Consciousness is empty. Your true nature is empty. How to get to the emptiness of who you are is by dismantling the mind. Right now, who we are is just the mind, the identification of the mind. And this identification of the mind is coming from the place of experience. Whatever we go through in life always leaves a residue as an idea, likes and dislikes. And then that residue is who we are right now. There's a likes and dislike in us. We prefer something and we reject something, which is the preference itself. That preference is an identification. And also there's an ingrained preference in us, and we see ourselves as that. That is the deeper identification, which comes from the movement of life, which comes from the being part of the world. Our surrounding is influencing us to be somebody, to get somewhere. We are putting ourselves in that path, and we're becoming that. And when we are becoming that, we are adding layers to become that. That means we are moving further away from who we are. And that's why there's a struggle. Yes, we need to identify ourselves as something in the world, and with that we are communicating with the world. We are inviting support in our lives. We are having fun with that identification. And that's what the relative world is all about. It's about identifying and enjoying and going through the experience that life offers us. But when it comes to inner freedom, we have to dismantle what we have become. And that's the way to go towards the emptiness of who we are. And resting in that emptiness is resting without the mind. And mind is the realm that is always creating a trouble, isn't it? Mind is the realm that is always creating a conflict. And that's why the conflict itself makes us suffer. And when there's a suffering, we want peace. And right now, the peace and happiness we are seeking is still outward journey. Yes, there are momentary peace, momentary happiness, momentary freedom. But that is, it's like the breath in and out kind of stuff. But who we are is the only true, unchanging aspect of who we are. And when that is unchanging, and that can only be true, and resting in that is free from the mind. So, I hope you're getting this. Who we are is empty. And right now, who we are is identification. And freedom is about letting go, not refining the pattern, not refining the identification. And right now, the world is just rearranging the mind, rearranging the material stuff to be free. Rearranging the mind, rearranging your environment is like you are rearranging your jail cell. You are in the jail and you're organizing the furniture in the jail cell. No matter how beautifully rearrange your jail cell, you are still in the jail, in the cell. You're still confined by those walls. So rearranging the mind and rearranging your environment is that. You might feel a little relief because you have let go of the old stuff and you added the new stuff. And you feel a little bit free. Why? Because you are right now in a new phase. And new phase is always happy, you know. Sunshine, rainbow in the sky, that kind of feeling. This is like a honeymoon phase of your marriage life. But it ends, isn't it? The things that you rearrange yourself with will get old. When it gets old, your ego wants the new stuff. Then you rearrange again. The rearranging is never ending. That means the rearranging itself takes an effort, and that effort is limited, and then you have to rearrange again and again. You know, your ego is just playing a trick on you, which means you are playing the trick on yourself by not realizing the truth of who you are. Until you see the truth of who you are, you're gonna rearrange your life, the whole life, and the whole life is a struggle, you know. So if you want to end your struggle, you know, if you want to end your inner struggle, then you have to see the truth of who you are. That's the only way. If you don't see in a concept sense, then you are proving that spiritual journey is not true. You're saying that truth doesn't exist. Only you exist. That means, what is that? That is also your ego is playing the trick. And some of the people have been walking on the spiritual path for long enough, you know, and still not able to find the truth of who they are. And when that is the state, it's easy to, you know, rest in the momentary freedom, or they have made their own personal truth. People who walk the path for long enough can't figure out the truth of who they are as emptiness. These are the people who have made the personal truth and seeing that personal truth is the truth. And that's what's happening. But the truth can be seen. How to see the truth is by removing everything we have accumulated so far, including the spiritual meaning, spiritual experience. Spiritual meaning, spiritual experience is the hardest conditioning to let go. Some of the experience that you accumulated from the spiritual practice is through meditation. In the meditation, you are concentrating your body, concentrating your mind, you're zooming your awareness into certain thing, and after zooming in, what happens? There's some experience comes in that is beyond the physical. When the experience comes in a way that it's not physical, but it's just above the physical, and it's so easy to see that as true, and some of the people have seen that as true. But here's my 2 cents for you. That is not true. Truth is the background that supports that extraordinary experience to resurface. And we need to figure out the background that supports all experience to come and go. And you are aligned to the experience and getting caught in that experience and attached to that experience. That means you're denying the truth that supports all experience to come and go. So if you have made seen something and made that out of personal truth, take a moment and ask yourself. So, this is the place where you can reorient yourself. The journey is about figuring out the background that supports all experience. So, think about it. And another thing is that if you have seen something as true, and if your life is still full of conflict, full of fear, full of fight, that means you have not seen the truth yet. And also this reference can make you see that you are not there yet. Your only ego is making you make that as true, because the ego fears to become nothing. The whole journey, spiritual journey, is about death of the ego. And when you had amazing experience coming in a way to avoid the death of the ego itself, that means you're avoiding to be who you are, and you're resting in the false reality. The mind has created the reality. The mind itself is a false reality created by your ego self, which comes out from the place of, experience. That's why they say ego is an illusion. What you are is an ego. And you are an ego self because you're anchored in the mind, and all mind is the past, not even the present, not even the now. Who you are is the now. The now is the silent observer, the consciousness itself. And the freedom is about going back and resting in who you are. How to rest is by tracing your mind backward. So, trace your mind backward. Every day you are experiencing some level of fight, frustration, anger, resistance, hate. There's all sorts of limitation you're facing. Whatever limitation you're facing today, you trace it back. You ask yourself, why am I fighting? Why am I frustrated? Why am I even happy? Yeah? Whatever you're experiencing is, your ego self is experiencing that, and the ego self is, resisting stuff. Now ask yourself, why am I resisting? Why am I fighting? Or why am I running away from my experience? Why? If you ask why, there should be the answer, because you are experiencing that. And when you ask why, there should be the answer for your reaction. There's a reason for that. When you ask, then you know. When you don't ask, you're just brushing your experience and moving along with that, again, denying the underlying issue that is creating a turmoil in your life. To remove the turmoil, to be free, you have to look into your experience and you have to investigate your experience, and that's the way to be free, my friend. Okay, so trace it back, trace your problem back if you want to live your life without the problem, mental problem. If you want to live your life without a fear, you have to look into your fear and investigate why the fear is there, and you have to dissolve your fear until there's nothing more is left, and then you're preparing yourself to see who you are. Again, remember the reference. The nature of the consciousness is empty, and you are that. Or consciousness is not an idea. No idea means empty. Who you are, your true nature is empty. It's the same thing. Have this reference when you are walking the path. And also to need to have this reference, because when you're walking the path, when you think that you are there, then have this reference. What you're assuming might be an idea, or the experience that is happening again beyond the physical experience, and you think you are there. But again, remember, it's about figuring out the background that supports all experience, and that background is empty. Having the reference that consciousness is not an idea or the experience. Don't rely on the experience. Don't rely on the idea, because consciousness or truth of who you are is not an idea or experience. It's the background that supports everything. Figuring out that is true freedom. So, have the reference when you walk in the path, so you're not distracted by any experience. Okay? Again, yeah, it's a must. Yeah, that's all in this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Keep going, keep dismantling, and you're welcome to put your comments on what you want to hear next. And if there's something is not clicking, put on the comments, and I will look into it, and then I'll reply to your comments. Okay. Yeah, that's all in this video. Take care for now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.